Here, let's have a little fun with this for a second, since we have the kid in the room.
Yeah.
Grace, when you hop on, Mike, when you listen to us, not in terms of the entertainment value, but the educational aspect of it, what comes to mind? What floats? I know you're in work mode, kind of thinking of the show, but do you have little cartoon bubbles that pop up with, ooh, what do they mean by that? Or, oh, that's interesting. How does that apply to me?
Or do they all sound like Charlie Brown's teacher?
Yeah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Just let go stream of consciousness on it.
Well, what came to mind when you guys were talking about, and I feel like this happens half the time for me at my ripe age of 22, but when you guys talk about the ROI and the Roth IRA and all the big
money
boy
shit.
terms that you guys talk about,
skibbly-dibbly-doo.
I kind of do the Charlie Brown in my head.
Understandable.
But then when you guys were talking about what financial security looks like to you, I just think it's funny for me with you as my dad and you as a uncle, basically. It's funny, like, thinking about the comparison between, like, my financial
Yeah, but we were
security.
22 once.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's just funny seeing and I might regret saying this, but the wisdom that the two of you have.
No, we'll hold that over your head for a while. I'm curious because you're here and you're listening to your dad tell stories about the differences. And granted, your mom's not here to speak for herself, but that's okay. Dad's doing a pretty good job. How do you hear that versus how did you experience it as a kid growing up in those times? Did you recognize the kind of financial stress your parents were going through back then? I mean, what was that experience like for you, A, to hear your dad talk about it, and then how much of that takes you back to that time, and what was your experience like? Because I would imagine it's a little different maybe than how your dad described his experience with that.
Right.
8 questions in one go.
Initially thinking back on it, I have no memory of being influenced by my parents' stressors about money.
Good job, Dad.
So shout out mom and dad.
Right.
But I mean, I think another thing that this wasn't a direct question, but now as I get older and I gain some wisdom, maybe a little bit partially from the two of you, is that I appreciate the vulnerability that as I've gotten older, my parents have been able to educate me on finances and how it's hard and can be extremely messy, but also like learning now that it can be stress-free and it doesn't keep you up at night. So seeing that is a huge eye-opener and perspective at my age currently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because I would imagine you feel a lot of financial pressure.
yeah.
And is that from mom and dad? Is that self-generated?
Yeah, well, I think it's more from myself for sure. In
Like
terms
wanting
of
to be
driven to
financially-
be financially stable
Right.
and pay my own rent and stuff like that.
Right.
As I'm currently living at home.
Right. Yeah. Which we love having you at home.
Thanks.
Well,
Can we get that in writing too?
Yeah, that's on the show. It's in the show notes.
Technically, it's in writing now.
transcript. Yeah.
Well, and hopefully the takeaway for you in that conversation and the takeaway for the tribe is that financial security didn't come because mom and dad hit a number, right? It has very little to do with a certain net worth number or a certain liquidity number. Financial security came from a certain sense of understanding, of clarity, of feeling this sense of confidence in how we create wealth in our life, and then this sense of capability that I can. Like the avenue, the road is there. I just need to walk down it. So point being, if I'm 22 years old again, instead of thinking about financial security in terms of how much money do I have in the bank, it's do I have the avenue where I can take what I know I'm good at, go run with it, be rewarded for that, and be able to rinse and repeat over and over and over. And once I have some clarity on what that looks like, I develop this sense of confidence in myself to do it. And then once I actually go do it, I look in the rearview mirror at the progress I've made and go, holy shit, look at the capability that I've now created in myself. Mm-hmm. And that just becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Newton's second law of motion. Once an object gets in motion, it stays in motion.
Yep.
And that's what that whole thing's about. So that's important, that if you didn't take that away, That's where financial security comes from. In our experience, I'm sure there's somebody who's going to pick up the phone right now and call into the studio, which would be our 877-283-9150 phone number.
Yeah.
Someone is going to be motivated to pick up the phone right now and argue that point with me that, damn it, no, it's a number. When I hit my first $1 million in the bank, I felt financially secure. Great. I want to hear your story. If that's what made you financially secure, then get your butt on the phone and call us and let's share that story so we can get it out here for the tribe. So this is just our experience with where financial security comes from and hopefully the model we've rolled for you.
And to be, if you will, at the beginning of the money game at 22, right? What you define as financial security is going to evolve and grow a lot, right? To your point, Matthew, on learning your superpower and finding your path and going and having some experience with it, right? She's just in the top of the first inning on figuring out what that is. However, in the short time since you've graduated from school, from college, you have very quickly, in my opinion, been able to figure out how to make a buck here, there, and everywhere to go from, if I think it would be a great exercise for you to go look at your bank balance in June of this year when you graduated and where you are today, because you've been able to not just make a couple of bucks, but save a bunch of bucks.
Keep talking.
That hopefully gives you some financial confidence, even though you don't necessarily have clarity on what your superpower is yet and what you want to do professionally.
Right.
Is any of that a fair statement?
Yeah, for sure.
I think you should learn how to leap tall buildings with a single bound.
I think I could be pretty good at that.
Yeah. And with that,
that's a wrap.